YouTube? It's Von Straight to it. I'm coming at you guys with another video, man. Hope everybody's having a cool day so far. Today we got a little bit of a different video, man. It's just something I ain't never did before, but today we're gonna do a little book review, man, of this book right here. We're gonna do a book review of The Richest Man in Babylon, man. This book right here. I'm doing a book review on this book just because I feel like, you know, in my head, or in my life right now, that's what I'm practicing the most. You know what I'm saying? I'm applying the knowledge that I've learned, right? And I'm trying to make it stick with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make it concrete for myself in the future. So that's what we're doing here, man. So lately I've been doing a lot of studying financially, trying to budget, get used to all these different routes financially, and wrapping my head around the whole topic and whatnot, right? And I'm always going to share my information, right? So, and these just I always target people no matter what age you are, but target people around my age, 19, 20, you're a young man or you're a young woman, right? So that's why I'm doing these videos, because I feel like it can help you guys get a better understanding, because we're all there, not there mentally, but we're all around the same age and whatnot, so if it is somebody watching this age, I feel like I can connect with them better, maybe younger than me or whatnot. So I'm targeting that younger generation. But first, The Richest Man in Babylon, it's a book. It's written, it's about a story about a man, how he goes from basically from the bottom to the top, right? He like everyone in this world, or like everyone just like myself, and if somebody watching this video who wants to get their finances right and who wants to live a glamorous lifestyle or just a comfortable lifestyle, right? You see other people, you may end up looking up to them and wondering how they got to a certain position they're in, right? So this is what that book talks about, right? It's a story about how a man, comes across another man, with more money, that's a lot more wealthy, more properties, more assets, right? And that man gives him all the steps and all the, basically, right now it'd be like, all the sauce and all the game on how to build yourself up well, financially, right? So that's what it talks about. It talks about going from the bottom to the top, right? It talks about working a job and saving a little bit amount of your money to end up staying consistent and eventually not having to work no more and becoming a king, and now you have a whole bunch of money. So that's essentially what this book is talking about, right? And one of the first things it stresses, right, is you first learn to live on less than you earn. Next, you seek advice from people who have been through success through their own experience. And lastly, learn to make the gold work for you, right? So gold in this book, gold in our terms is money, right? When he says gold, he's talking about money, right? So, and you have to understand that a part of what you earn is mine to keep. And something so small, it actually stuck with me, and it really became a big deal in my head, right? A part of what you earn is yours to keep, right? That it's literally just telling you to save. But if you look deeper and you realize what it's saying, you know what I'm saying? A part of what you earn, right? The fact you went out, you've worked for this money is yours. You earned this money. So some of that money that you worked for is yours to keep, right? Because you end up giving, this is another example in the book, when you spend money, you're giving your money to someone else, right? Right. So this is the money that I've worked for. Is whatever I'm about to spend money on or consume, is it worth giving my money to this person, right? That's how you got to look at it. So the first cure, save what you earn, right? And cures is like essentially first step, first lesson, whatever. But that's what it is essentially. You save what you earn. That's the first step, right? When you get some money, you get what you've worked for, and you've earned it. You save a piece of what's yours, right? You save a piece of what's yours, right? And secondly, you budget your expenses, right? So you saved, you've got what you earned, and you've saved what you earned, right? So now it's time to spend your money on whatever you need to spend money on, right? You budget yourself. So you budget your expenses, and you're gonna say, I'm gonna spend a certain amount, in a certain amount of time. That's what it is, right? We've already talked about that, but that's a step to financial freedom. You have to do more with less, right? You gotta budget your expenses. Just because you have $1 million, or just because you have You have $20, does not mean you should spend the whole $20 right away, right? It doesn't mean you should spend the whole $1 million, right? If you have $1 million, put up a certain amount and budget with the rest. There you go. Third, I apologize. Third, you make what you earn work for you so it multiplies and creates a constant flow of wealth, right? Especially when we talk about investing your money and putting it into assets, right? That's essentially what this is, right? You make what you've earned work for you so your money can multiply and create a constant flow of wealth, right? We should always have money moving, right? You should not have money only sitting in one spot, right? Not growing, right? If you're sitting in a bank account in the savings, right? If all your money is in a savings account and it's not growing from the interest, right? It's not getting the interest that it could be getting, right? Because your money grows at a very slow rate. If maybe doesn't grow at all when it's just sitting in a savings account, right? Take a little bit of that money, right, and put it into an investment account so your money is constantly flowing, right? Your money is it's fluctuating, whether it's going up or down. Your money's growing, right? But even if it is going down, make sure it's a good investment enough and do your research to make sure you trust your investment and you trust that your investment will go up, right, in the long run. So fourth, you prevent the wealth from being lost, like we were just talking about. You prevent the wealth from being lost by making smart and safe investments, right? Acquire advice and strategies from those who have success in handling profitable investments. You let their wisdom protect you from an unsafe investment, right? So essentially, and right here, I'm reading off my computer right here. If you guys are wondering, I'm reading off my laptop is right here. But essentially what that's just saying, it's literally what you're saying, what we're talking about, what I just had said, right? You make sure you make those smart investments. You make sure you do your research. You go to someone in that field who's already gained a positive benefit from that investment, or who has experience, right? It can help you, and you can ask the questions to someone who has experience, right? You do that before you put your money somewhere, right? You don't just wake up and say, I want to buy myself a property, and the next thing you know, you walk around your neighborhood or walk around wherever and drive around wherever and just say, I'm going to buy this property because it looks nice, and that's it, right? You know what I'm saying? If you're investing into a property, you don't just wake up and say, I'm just going to invest in this because it's just a property, right? You do research on that property. You talk about it. You go over putting your money into a property with somebody else. You ask someone with experience what they did and how they got to the point where they're at, right? So those are the things you do before you do invest your money. It's important to invest your money. When it's important to invest your money and keep things growing and make good investments, right? But it's not something you should just do carelessly. There we go. We're on the fifth cure, right? This is the fifth cure. Eventually, you own a home instead of paying rent over and over and having to show nothing but rent receipts. Pay that same money towards a mortgage instead. The results of doing this leads you to owning a home. So here, a lot of people can argue, renting a home or, buying a house or whatever. A lot of people have their own opinions and whatnot. But here, it's essentially what it's saying is, when you pay rent over and over, right? You're paying rent for an apartment. It shouldn't be your end all be all, right? That should not be your biggest goal, because you're giving, like we talked about, your earned money to someone else, right? And you don't end up owning. You know what I'm saying? When you give your money in a mortgage and you pay for a mortgage, right? You pay for a home. Eventually, you own that home, right? When you're paying a mortgage every month, right? You eventually are going to lead into owning that home, right? So that's what it's saying here. It's a better investment to eventually end up owning something, right? As to spending rent and paying monthly payments to something that you don't end up owning in the long run, right? So there you go. 6, ensure your income. As you get older and you closely reach the stage where you're unable to provide for your family, to make sure you still have money flowing for your family after you pass, you should make smart investments that do so. So no matter what age you are, right? You know what I'm saying? You should always be thinking for the future. Like me right now, perfect example, like 19. My goal right now is to get my money right now and to save money now, learn about the things that I'm talking about right now, and get a good understanding of all those topics, right? So I can be set for the future, right? So by the time I am 25, 30, or whatever, however I am in my 20s, by the time I am that point, all that work that I put in, right, has paid off. Those investments that I put in has paid off, right? Those, and it's insured. I'm insuring my income for the long run, right? So say this is a grown man, right? You got kids, you got family, you're 30s, you're working your job, you're an entrepreneur, you're whatever revenue that you're bringing in, right, for you and your family, right? You got to make sure that you put some aside for the future to make sure ensure your family's going to be safe while by the time you're 60, right? So when you're 60 and you're in your 70s, you know, um, that's what it's saying here. Make sure you have money. Even if you are 60 or 70 right now and you haven't done it yet, you ensure that you put money up and you have money flowing and growing slowly, for your family when you pass, right? So that's what it's talking about. And 7, increase your ability to earn. This is also the last one. You increase your ability to earn. The more knowledge you attain, the more money you will be able to attain. You keep learning, you keep reading, and you keep listening to others that may not be able to help you. Oh, that may be that may be able to help you. My apologies, man. I had read that wrong. But here, that's what it's talking about, man. Increasing your ability to earn. Um, if you've watched other videos, right, something that you always hear other people say is you're not gonna reach wealth on only one income, right? So if you are working a job and a lot of your income goes towards a job, or a lot of your income comes from that job, right? You should make it a goal to increase your ability to earn, right? So you don't reach wealth by having one income, right? You have to have multiple income streams, right? You have to have multiple income streams, and you can't just rely on one income. That's the whole thing about it, right? Because you're not just gonna off of one salary, you're not gonna reach wealth, right? You know what I'm saying? So boom, for example, you're working a job, you're working a 9 to 5, right? And an increased income from you could be something from your investments, right? One of your investments can bring you a second income stream, right? And that money from your job is also bringing you income, and that's another income, and you build on top of that. So that's essentially that's an example right there. And I keep using this word essentially, my bad, man. But that's what's going on here, man. You increase your ability to earn, and you increase your knowledge, man. You don't just stay stagnant. You don't just get complacent and stay in that one spot. You keep going. And there you go. Men of action. Those were the cures right there. But this is something else. And these are notes. I'm looking at my notes, right? These are the biggest things that I took away from this book. But this is a quote: "Men of action are favored by the goddess of luck, of good luck. Men who take action and are eager to obtain opportunities. My bad, y'all. And eager to obtain opportunities to better themselves, attract the interest of the goddess of luck." Right. So boom, that's all facts right there. You know what I'm saying? A man that's sitting around complaining about their situation, whether it's financially, physically, whatever it is, if you're a man or a woman, you're sitting around complaining about your situation, you're not going to be blessed with the luck. You're not going to have no luck coming into your life because you're not doing anything to try to make anything happen, right? Versus the man that's maybe he's going broke, right? Maybe he's gone broke and he's trying to change his financial situation, right? So he's getting up and making sacrifices. He's not hanging out with people as much, right? He's not being intoxicated as much. He's sacrificing and putting his energy towards getting himself at that situation, right? So a man that's putting his energy towards getting himself into a better situation is going to be blessed with the goddess of luck because you're putting in action, right? Versus a man who is not. The goddess of luck, that's just the term that they're using here because this is an older book, right? The what's it called is older. I don't know the word. Dialogue, maybe. But terms and whatnot. You know, the goddess of luck is just, well, really, that's what's the word for that now? Goddess of luck. Really, that's just straightforward, man. You know, you guys can understand what that means, right? But essentially, the goddess of luck, or luck in general, blessings, whatever it is, it's not gonna reach anyone who's not trying to put themselves into a better position, right? If you're not trying to bless yourself, no one else is gonna bless you. Period. And then you have the 5 laws of gold. 5 laws of gold. And that's essentially what we just talked about, man. You know, save and invest your money is the first law. Build a security for the future. And the second law is find profitable and reliable ways to multiply your money. Third law, make sure it is in the right hands when investing. Learn from someone who has consistent success themselves when investing and handling money. Fourth law, money will slip away from an unwise man if he lets it. Do not invest in business or anything you do not know much about, which we already talked about. Fifth law, God will flee from a man that accepts advice from a trickster or a schemer, or a man that trusts his own experiences or romantic desires, right? So, essentially, you know what it says, boom. And I keep using that word essentially, but basically, I'm going to say that what this means is, that's what I'm going to damn say. What this means is, gold will flee from a man that accepts advice from a trickster or a schemer, right? Money and gold, whatever, you know, money, and nowadays, you know, money's gonna leave someone that accepts advice from, you know, from a two-faced man, right? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna, from a con, right? Nowadays, money's gonna leave someone that accepts advice from a con, right? That's what it's saying. You know, someone who schemes and steals and plays tricks on people in order to get something out of them, right? To get more out of them. So that's what it's saying. Money is gonna it's gonna flee away from somebody, you know, who isn't mentally capable enough to realize a trickster or a schemer from a regular person, right? So that's what it's saying. Or it's gonna stay away. It's gonna flee from someone and leave someone from a man that trusts his own experiences, right? Basically, from a man who doesn't do research, from a man who's going to say, I'm going to invest in this property because it just feels right and it looks nice, right? It's not going to come back to you if you're doing that, right? From a man who's just saying, I'm going to do that, or from a man who, it also says romantic desires, who trusts his romantic desires. So if you're a man that you're going to trust your romantic desires, basically what you're going to do is, if you're a man that makes decisions off of, you know, that lust and that romantic desire, that desirable feeling, right? And you're not disciplined, right? If you're a man that has desire over your discipline, right, money is going to flee from you, right? You're not a man worthy enough to have that money, right? And when you do have that money, and while you have that money, you're just going to consistently decrease. It's going to decrease slowly over time until you're just broke, right? Until you get your mind, until you're broke and you have to learn to get your mind together, right? Or if you're a man, from what I just talked about, you know, you just want to go off your own experience. You want to walk around and think you're all high and mighty because you have money, right? You don't do your research when you're making investments. That's going to lose, you know, you're going to lose your money. So, boom. These last two right here, you know, I was going to end it, but there's last two right here, quotes right here. Better a little caution than a great regret, right? What we was just talking about. It is better to take extra caution of your goal to make sure it is in the hands of wise people that consistently experience success. Do not take advice from people who do not have any results to show for you. Do your research, right? You got to do your research for your own money, right? Period, point blank. Where there is determination, the way can be found. Do you have the mind of man? Do you have the mind of man, or do you have the mind of cuck, right? So are you a bitch, or are you a real man? Will you give up, or you keep pushing, man? If you set out a goal and you want it bad, you will do what it takes to get there no matter what. No matter how hard it gets, keep going. You will make it eventually, man. So that's it, man. Essentially, those are the things that I took away when I read this book, man. I wrote all that shit down. I took my notes and all that. But the richest man in Babylon, man, it changed the way I think about money. And I know it's going to change the way you think about money too. That's why I made this video. No matter what age, this book can help you out. But if you're young, just like me, go ahead and read this book. Or go ahead and take notes from this video. Watch this video a few times. You know, if you're not even a reader, I understand that, man. If nobody likes to read, you know, just take notes from this video and get a better understanding of what I was talking about and apply these things, man. Apply these things. Ain't nobody gonna get rich for you. Ain't nobody gonna reach success for you. That's all I gotta say.